We've got the first polling in on Joe Biden's American Families Plan. That's a package that he put together that has the affordable childcare and free community college and a host of other sort of more social welfare programs. Turns out it is quite popular. Nearly 60% of voters support the package overall. And perhaps even more significant, if you look at these individual pieces, it garners, each of those individual pieces garners significant majority support. Let's go ahead and throw that up on the screen. I did the addition for you. You're welcome. Affordable childcare gets 64% support and only 22% oppose. Universal preschool gets 63% support, 26% oppose. Free community college, 59% support, 31% oppose. Every one of the policies that they tested had significant majority support. And Sagar, it's interesting because on the one hand, you know, the relief plan had major bipartisan support.
Yeah, it was checks, right?
It was checks. It was also things that Trump had frankly campaigned on and done during his own administration that Republicans had come out in favor of during the Trump administration. That one was broadly popular across the political spectrum. What you see with infrastructure and what you see now with the Families Plan is that the partisan lines are starting to harden. So I think you have about 25% of Republicans who support the package overall, which is still, I mean, sometimes with these partisan issues, it's all the way down in the single digits.
That's right.
But it shows you that there's more of a partisan hardening around some of these issues, even as when you go through the individual pieces, they are still overwhelmingly popular.
Yeah, it really is just running into the buzzsaw of the culture war. And Matt Iglesias actually tweeted out a great graph today, which is amazing, which is that on January 20th, Inauguration Day, 69% of Republicans said that the economy is getting worse. And the previous day, literally the previous day, the number was like 10%. So there was a 50% jump on the day that Joe Biden took office that the economy is now worse. Now, I don't think the economy changed unless somebody wants to tell me. 50 percentile in a single day. So what happens? And if you think Democrats are off the hook here, no, it's the same thing, which is that on Inauguration Day for Joe Biden, the day before, 70% of Democrats said that the economy was getting worse. And today, what's that number? It's 9%. And it dropped exactly on the day of Inauguration Day. So I think that this is, again, one of those things where you're really and actually fighting for the middle. Remind me, what's the independent number there? So it really is one of those.
The independent number is 54%.
So I think that's the one that matters the most.
And only 27% opposed, because that's a significant chunk is still undecided. So the fact that you have a majority is actually quite impressive, given that you've got a good chunk that's still undecided.
And the other point I would make is that people need to not conflate opposition with degree of opposition.
That's
As
really
in the
true.
degree of opposition to Biden on health care is not even going to be close to the same as the degree of opposition to Biden on immigration. Like if there was, 25% of Republicans or whatever who only supported something and 75% disapproved on immigration, it would be like 75% of Republicans are all in on defeating this plan.
Yeah.
I don't see the same level of energy. The right now is very split, but in terms of the implementation, so they agree with the goals of the Biden plan, but say, hey, maybe we need more localism, maybe we need payments instead of, incentivizing daycare, etc. I would say that's like the J.D. Vance's, Hawley, Marco Rubio's-ish of the world. I'm not going to lie, it's probably like 5 people who are actually at power. And then there are the deficit people who are just wholesale, like totally against it. And that, it's an interesting debate if you want to go into it. But really what I think it does show is that the right really just doesn't know what to do with Joe Biden. They just have no idea what to do. Is there political salience to work requirements? Yes, there actually is. Will it become the defining era of our politics today? I just don't know. I think we live in a very different country than 1994. The working class majorities, the white working class in particular, is just not even close to as socially conservative as they were in the year 1994. The people that Bill Clinton had to win and the people that gave Trump the presidency. People don't know this, but a third of the people who voted for Trump in 2016, we don't have 2020 data, they're pro-choice. Like a third, right? Most GOP people will never admit that.
That's really interesting.
But Listen, they're pro-choice. A lot of them are socially conservative in the fact that they like guns and they don't like cultural liberalism. But being anti-race theory is not the same thing as being with you on some more traditional conservative orthodoxies.
Yeah.
And that's where I think if there's, what the real realignment to come is figuring out what the hell that
That's
means.
a really interesting point. I mean, we also saw the numbers in support of racial justice very, very high, even as, like you said, they may not like critical race theory.
They're not like pro-affirmative action or like Nicole Hannah-Jones, but they're like, exactly. That's where most people are.
Right. And so, I mean, it is funny, the Republican attacks that they're attempting on the American Families Plan. Like I saw Marsha Blackburn tweeted out, you know who else had universal child care? The Soviet Union. First of all, it's not even universal child care.
I don't even think that's true.
I don't know if it's true, but she tweeted. That's what she. So it's the same like playbook of this is really socialism, and you really elected Bernie Sanders. And first of all, it's not even universal child care. It's like affordable child care with the system of subsidies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But also, you can see in the polling, it's overwhelmingly popular. 64% support and only 22% oppose. So I thought that they might have more luck demonizing this particular plan. Like there might be some things in here that were sort of cultural lightning rods. It doesn't actually look like it. The more people learn about the details, actually the more popular the plan is.
If it goes down, it'll go down on this. People hate administrators, and Republicans and conservatives in particular hate college-educated graduates. I actually didn't know this, but did you know you need a college degree in order to run daycare? Like there are all these crazy daycare regulations, which somebody was explaining to me. I shouldn't say crazy because I guess they kind of make sense, where it's like you need X number of people per kid, which does make sense, but they all also have to have college degrees. And also there's just crazy amount of inflation, and they're also small businesses, so they fail like en masse all of the time. The economics around daycare is fascinating, in particular for most working class people, and then on the high end whenever it comes to like New York City and DC in particular. But I would say, if it fails, it's going to be you don't want these people raising your kids. Now, are they going to give you any option like cash relief and more? Like I said, there are maybe 5 people in the Senate caucus who would agree with that, but the majority of the caucus does not agree with that whatsoever. But if they do get people ginned up, it's going to be on those grounds.
Yeah,
That's
or they'll just like invent something, that out of whole cloth that has like some slight basis in truth, and that they'll run with and do endless segments on and convince their segment of the population at least that this is evil and they're going to destroy the country.
Very possible.
More Rising for you after this.